Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Matt and it is finally Fiendish Friday. Yes, 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 folks, it is finally TGIF. Oh, thank goodness. Hopefully each and every one of you are having a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk, all that wonderful stuff. I hope each and every one of you have a fantastic weekend. Hopefully you get out and do something. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty nice around where I'm at. Hopefully it is in your neck of the woods as well. And please do like, share, and subscribe. And for any new viewers or any older viewers, please do check the description box for more information on the film that I am watching for the day. Brief synopsis, a list of the starring cast, the director, the runtime of the cut that I'm watching, the rating as well, and then if there's anything worthwhile for as far as any kind of trivia, I will throw that in there as well. And there's always going to be a link to a trailer or a scene to a film. There's only been one movie that out of everything that I've ever done where I didn't have anything to do it, and I honestly could care less on that one because it was such a terrible movie. It was one that I won't forget because it was so bad. Yeah. It's one I hope you steer clear from. I spit on your corpse, or I think it's I spit on your corpse, I piss on your grave, something like that. Oh, that movie's just wretched. Anyways, at least for me, I didn't like it. Hopefully, I'm not the only one in that area of expertise. Anyways, let's move on to today's movie. Today's came out in 1983, so 37 years ago today. It's been a hot minute. Very good one, though. It's I wouldn't call it a top tier slasher, but I would definitely call it mid tier, not bottom tier by any means. It's close to that top tier stuff, but it's not quite there. This one's rated R. This cut's running at an hour and 36 minutes. I got another old DVD of this one, but I didn't go check the time on it. Probably because it's still packed away. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But this cut's running at an hour and 36 minutes. I don't know if this one's ever suffered any kind of cutting. Maybe overseas it has. Maybe some of the gore, but there's really not a lot of blood and gore in this one, although there definitely is some in it, because it does get in your face with a few things, like there's a snake bite that gets pretty gnarly looking. There's as a matter of fact, there's the killer uses a sickle, a hand sickle, and it goes through the lady's mouth hole, which is kind of cool looking. It's probably the best effect next to the throat slitting to our at the very, very end, which is a very cool one. Now this stars Bill Thurman, who is Bill Thurman is the Reverend character, I believe, if memory serves me correct. He is a very, very cool character. He's an old Reverend who has become a drunk, and he started out as an insurance salesman, and then a Bible salesman, and then eventually he joined the church, which is an interesting trilogy of a career there, in my opinion. And then we got Anna Chappell. She plays our main killer. She plays our killer. There is not more than one. She plays our killer in the film, our main lead for as far as that. She does an amazing job. Everything that she did in this one, I can't complain. She does. She brings in her A game when it came to that, and everything that I heard about that woman is that she was a constant professional, and she may not have liked what she was doing, but she always brought her A game, never complained on set, never was a prima donna about it. The only people that really didn't know that she didn't care for it are the ones that are near and dear to her, because they know that she's not that kind of person. And then we got Will Mitchell in here. He plays the sleazy wannabe Columbia record executives type person. He's not he's kind of sleazy in my opinion. but he does redeem himself throughout the film, so he is not a dislikable character. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out here, and it is none other than Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Yes, yes, yes. Now, this came from Vinegar Syndrome. It is an amazing release, as usual, with them. It is your standard issue press DVD and Blu-ray. Now, this one came with not one, not two, not three, but four, folks. Count them, 4 different artworks that you can choose from. I went with this one because that's what I remember it most as growing up, and that's also what my old DVD is as well. You flip that over and you get this one right here. You flip that over, you get that one right there, which was one of the original artworks that they went with for the film, but it got rejected by the MPAA because apparently it was too much. And then you got this one right here, which is a fun one as well. I'm gonna go ahead and go with that old original artwork with the baby doll getting the sickle through the face. I changed my mind, so I'm going with that one instead. Now, as far as the other special features on here, there's 2 interviews on here. One with a guy that worked he was one of the directors of photography, and then the other one is on the set designer for the film, which the set is definitely a star of the film itself. They did an amazing job creating everything that they did. The final sequence was originally shot a different way. They had a completely different ending. The studio that picked it up, New World Pictures, which is the one they're no longer around, but they used to be run by, it was one of the old Corman studios. They wanted a different ending, so they refilmed, and they were unable to go and refilm in these caverns, not caves, but these tunnels that was running underneath the motel. They couldn't go back to it because it had overgrown and everything had just basically gotten to the point to where they couldn't go down there. Now, they decided that they were going to recreate the set from top to bottom when it came to the tunnels, and they did a top-notch job. It's almost seamless between the two, because there was plenty of footage from the original release of it before they had to go through and redo some refilming, because they did have the tunnel stuff in there originally. It just wasn't the ending, the climax just wasn't enough for New World to put a release on this. And now this one ran under a couple of names because it had a little trouble getting a release. It originally was Mountaintop Motel was just the name, and then there was, I wrote it down as well. It was Horrors at Mountaintop Motel was one of the other titles that they had for it. And then when New World got a hold of it, they put on the massacre part. So it wasn't originally called Mountaintop Motel Massacre. It was just Mountaintop Motel. And that's an interesting little ordeal. They definitely go over it in both of those interviews. More so with the interview with what is his name in here? David Allen something. He was the set designer, and he came up with a lot of the props, and the sickle prop is very cool. The way he describes how they made it is really neat. I was very impressed with both their interviews. Both of them seemed like absolute gentlemen. They seemed very charming, very intelligent at what they were doing. They were definitely no slouch at what they were doing. Even though that was where they got their start at everything, was Mountaintop Motel Massacre, and they moved on in their careers to do much other bigger and brighter things, but they still hold this one as one of their favorites in their early career, which is very cool to hear. Now, what is it about? It's about an old lady that runs this Mountaintop Motel, and she years before she accidentally. She kills her daughter, kills the husband first, and then years after that kills the daughter. She goes away to the insane asylum, gets out, and then she is all better now, and she is running the motel again. She clearly has something going on wrong, because the first one of the first things you see her do is chop up a guinea pig at one point in it. But she is now like running it back to running it, and these people are coming in one by one. The Reverend is obviously one that has stayed there a while. Because he even did the officiating to the service for the daughter. So he's one of those. He was no stranger to the motel by any means, but which is kind of weird that she never messed with him. But when other people came around, because they kept getting more and more people, there was a fella named Crenshaw, which was my absolute favorite character in the entire film. He was a absolute gem. He was had some of the best lines. It was his one and only movie. Major Brock was his name. It was his one and only thing he ever did, as far as what I know about the guy. But he turned in a great performance otherwise. And then, so that guy, Major Brock, which is his name, Crenshaw is his name. I really like Crenshaw. He arrives, and he's kind of a handyman type. He is down on his luck and is trying to find work as he's going. He stays at this hotel because it's dirt cheap. She charged him $7 a night, which is hella cheap, even for 1983. That's pretty cheap in my opinion. Most hotels are over $100 nowadays for a night, which is just insanely ridiculous, unless you stay in some fleabag hotel that is possibly somebody was raped and or murdered in it, or there was some sleazy pornography made in it. One of those kind of hotels. But this one, the little cabins that people are staying in. And then eventually you have this young couple come up. They just got married. They can only afford the motel because they just got married, and they can't really afford a big luxury honeymoon like most people can't, which is understandable. I mean, you can make a honeymoon at home. You just need to have the right environment going on. Even though that sounds kind of boring. But they arrive, and then eventually there's these two girls named Tanya and Prissy, which are an interesting couple, because Prissy is kind of prissy. Tanya is the more outgoing of the two. She gets a little annoying in places. They get stuck on the side of the road in their ugly little red Volkswagen. Al's character, which is played by Will Mitchell, he comes in and saves the day, is taking them to the closest place to stay, which was the motel. And they're completely sopping wet. He's obviously checking them out, because you can see their tits through their white shirts, and they're not wearing bras. Definitely a standard cliche thing that they do in the movies. Most women I know don't go out of the house without their over the shoulder boulder holder. I mean, it's not very. It's pretty much the given thing. So that they arrive. On the way there, he is like feeding them a whole line of shit that he is a Columbia record executive, that he owns it, and that's his baby. And they are on their way to Nashville, actually, because they want to become a singing duet. He fools them into staying in his hotel room. It gets a little seedy, but Prissy is not one of those that is. She's not having anything to do with it. She flat out does. She sees through his lie. She doesn't want to sleep with him just to sleep with him, and it would be kind of weird anyways, because it'd be like two cousins like banging one dude at the same time, a two-cousin threesome. That just sounds kind of weird, especially if they became kissing cousins in the middle of it, because that's just. Yee. Maybe if they were cousins that were twice removed. No, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I'm kidding. Now, these people are one by one getting picked off by Evelyn, who is our villain of the film. She has this tunnel system underneath the cabins, and this is how she is able to get in and around all these people and pull off these things without you having to explain. Oh, she's just a little frail old lady. She's pulling tricks on these people, like she throws rats in one room, cockroaches in Crenshaw's room, which that whole scene when he finds out that he's dead asleep and he's getting cockroaches crawling all over him. His whole thing there is just great. He has this great dialogue with himself about how he's going to get the hell out of there. He's going to stay in his car, and then they should call it the Roach Motel and this and that. And he's talking about, oh, I pay for the room. I ain't got a crapper in my truck, so I'm gonna go use the crapper. And that's how he finds out about these tunnel systems, because Evelyn's character decides she's gonna go popping up into his room while he's sitting on the crapper. Which, and by the way, the trap door that she gets in through is in the bathroom, so he spots it and is able to stop her and thwart her before she can get in there. Alright, guys, it is pretty standard when it comes to that standard stock and slash. It doesn't run off the formula at all, really. It sticks to it. It adds its own little charm to it here and there. I can't say no to this one. I mean, I double dipped on it. I own 2 copies of it, and Vinegar Syndrome really crushed it with this release. They always do a top-notch job. I can't really complain about their stuff. Every once in a while they'll release a movie that I'm just not too interested in, or I'm not too really into collecting the porn stuff, which that's fine, you don't have to. It's for certain people. And usually the stuff they release is for historic value more than just sleaze value, Except for they released the Taboo series, which is weird. I mean, yeah, they're cinematically history, one of those things, but they're about incest. It's incest porn. Okay, so as far as ratings go for this side, on the technical side, it's probably a 3 out of 5. It's the middle of the road. Not going to change your mind as far as slashers go. But as an entertaining side, this thing is probably a 4. This thing, probably another 3. So it's probably a 6 out of 10 type slasher. 7 out of 10 if you're with the right crowd. I personally, I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times now. I prefer watching it with someone opposed to myself, even though I watch a ton of movies by myself, which helps for these reviews. I'm able to pay a lot more attention and without any distractions. Alright, guys, I'm going to put this down a 6 or a 7-ish out of 10. That's a pretty good one. I think it's above average, not like huge, not far above average in my opinion, but it is worth the watch. Like I said, it is a mid-tier slasher, so if you like slashers, do check it out. If you don't like mid-tier stuff, then skip it over, because you more than likely won't like it. Alright, guys, have a fantastic weekend. I got an interesting week lined up for next week. I already got a few titles picked out. One of them's going to be a foreign release for sure, one coming out from Canada. One I've been itching to finally see, and it finally arrived. Love your faces as always.